is it working?
Well, but the thing is a big part of the gun control is to stop people that are mentally unstable from getting guns. And it's like, well, maybe if we focused on the quote unquote mentally unstable, I know you guys can't see me put my quote marks in the air, um, as they're referring to a lot of them, maybe if we focus on helping them, then we wouldn't need to have such crazy gun control. Because I think that people should be allowed to own guns.
Yeah,
In
and
that factor, criminals aren't getting them legally anyways. It's the citizens that are hurting from that. So I feel like if we can help people with mental health, if we can have an open door, a safe place for people to talk about whatever they need to talk about, like judgment free. I'm a huge advocate for mental health.
yeah, and that's that's literally the term you never hear. Look at all the news channels, all the major ABC, Alphabet, CNN, and all these channels, Fox. You'll never. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about Trump bad, guns bad. Trump bad, guns bad. Like they're not ever talking about mental health. So, oh,
Okay. Uh, it's all right.
I think she might just be telling that person that we're like live on air. She might be right back. Hold on.
No worries. The more the better, to be honest.
So I was reading your profile because I don't really know anything about you,
Mm.
and I see that your title to your stream today says that you're fighting anxiety to be friendly.
Hmm. I suffer from
Can
anxiety.
explain that to me?
So I suffer from anxiety, and I have depression, and I was diagnosed recently with It's hard to always talk about it.
It's okay.
Basically,
You don't have to. It's up to you. You can refuse any question I ask. That's what we are. We're free to accept and not answer what we want.
but it's called schizophrenia, which
Mhm.
means
I've
I
heard of that.
see.
Oh, I think your response cut out on me, AJ.
Basically, I don't see things that are there, and
Okay.
sometimes I see things that might look weird, and I might see like lines and just zigzags and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
And
yeah.
is that does your anxiety make that happen?
No, it's the mental illness that I was diagnosed with that makes it like it makes it hard.
Mhm.
So sometimes
And and you're currently 22,
I'm actually 24. I need to update that.
24. How long have you been struggling with that?
Um, I've only been diagnosed with schizophrenia for about a year now.
Okay. And um what are they like what do they like how do you feel about that?
To me, it's hard to like relax sometimes because I know that I'm mentally ill, is what they say, but it doesn't, my mental illness doesn't define who I am. Uh,
Of course.
I define who I am, nothing more, nothing less. So,
Danny,
Hold that one moment so somebody couldn't just hop in.
okay. Um, AJ did say that the more the merrier. So if that person wanted to join, they could.
I told them if they wanted to join that they could pop up in the stream and talk to AJ through the
Oh,
chat.
that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
They
Yeah.
were just commenting on the name change.
All right, AJ. I'm not here to give you questions, so I'm sorry. Your turn.
it's
I missed
okay.
a bit of that. So you said that I'm from what I heard that you were diagnosed a year ago with schizophrenia.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I heard that you don't see things that are there, but you see things that are not there. Did I miss anything before that? I'm just trying to catch up.
No.
I asked if because I just asked about the title of the stream,
Okay.
Fighting My Anxiety to Be Friendly, and I just asked for an explanation.
Okay. All right, I'm caught up.
So,
I believe that mental health is, I mean, there's hotlines and all that, but I mean, really, when you're in that place, you don't really want to call that 1-800 number. Like, you want a friend, you want someone close and local, someone that can, like, physically be there for you, I guess.
Sometimes it's even hard to do that. Sometimes it's really hard to um I mean, I've struggled. I have depression, anxiety myself. When I heard or had my third child, I the pregnancy was not normal. I almost lost him. So towards it was a struggle the whole time. Halfway through, we thought we were gonna have him. I was sick a lot of the time. When we actually did have him, it was a 2 day thing. I was up for 2 days straight. I knew something was wrong. It was really stressful. When they took him out, I didn't actually get to meet him until he was 3 days old, and
Wow.
it
wow.
put me into postpartum pretty badly. And it's so crazy because I had people that would come by and they're like, you should open the windows in here, you should get out, get some fresh air, and I didn't want to do anything but stay inside. I got super depressed. To be honest, that's when I started gaming. I disappeared into games and watching and having my two other kids by my side. And while he was in the hospital, 'cause he was in the hospital for the first month, I couldn't even bring him home. Like, the only time I went outside was to go visit him when they allowed me to. Um, and then I didn't realize that I was in such a deep, dark hole because I just kind of masked it with other things until I guess until I started coming back out of that hole. And then I was like, wow, that was a dark place I was in. And it, one, if I would have recognized it, would have been nice to have a friend, but it's hard to reach out and tell somebody you're struggling, or because you never know. There's so many people that judge you for some of the things that you
You cut out.
can tell you about it. I'm sorry.
You cut out, Danny.
Oh,
You cut out
um,
after you said people judge you about, and then you cut out.
yeah, people judge you about some of the things that you think and feel when you're going through some of those. Like, um, I mean, there was a couple points that it was so dark that if I was walking up some stairs in my mind's eye, I actually saw myself tripping, falling backwards, and like hitting my head and, cracking it open or something crazy like that. And it was the depression that made me think that way. I mean, I wasn't suicidal or anything, but like in my head, anytime I did anything, like I was almost having these pictures, and that's all the depression talking. But I told somebody that, I mean, in all honesty, it would have been like, you're crazy. One, whether they were lightheartedly joking about it or they were serious, that just hearing that could have, I mean, you never know. In my the state of mind I was in, that could have completely crushed me, you know what I'm saying? Or, if they were serious and then they're, like, oh, she needs to get looked at or something. And once they label you with crazy, and I'm doing air quotes again, you almost never shake that off, you know?
Yeah.
So mental health is super, super important. And it's really important that if your friends ever seem a little off, it's okay to ask them if they're all right, and just make sure that you're very careful with any kind of responses when they do tell you anything, because you never know exactly what's going on in their mind. So mental health is super, super important.
Yep. And not to bring up a really dark subject, but I find it fits well into this mental health conversation and how the media treats it. Look at the school shootings that have taken place. Okay, just school shootings, not like the Florida nightclub, just the school ones. Those shooters had so many warnings, signs, red flags, mental health red flags, far before the atrocities happened. Atrocious. Before the
Atrocities.
bad
Atrocities.
atrocities
You're good.
happened. Okay. Why was nothing done? That's my point. But it happened, and then it's gun, 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 gun. You never hear the report on their, that they were being treated for this or that, or they were on this drug and that drug. You don't hear about any of the mental health issues, nothing. So that's my take on it. It's just it's being ignored in this country and around the world. It's being ignored.
Whoa, who's
I'm done.
foaming?
I'm done ranting.
No, you're good.
No, yeah.
Thank you for the love, Miss or Mr. Your Lovely Sniper. Thank you for the lurk and follow. Sorry, I should have muted there. Sorry.
Nope, I don't care.
Yeah, you're good.
I listen to Danny all the time when she's streaming.
Someone in the chat just said that video games was actually blamed for part of the.
No, that's not true.
And
Well,
everything got blamed.
It is true that they were blamed. It's just not true that they're the cause for it. And in all honesty,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, and in all honesty, as obviously a video game player, like where could my mind have gone? Okay, so going back to like my story, I got lost in World of Warcraft. One, that game is super addicting. It's like crack to me, but I got lost in it. I mean, here I was in a world where if I died, I can come back to life. I could be or do anything that I wanted to do, right? It was my choice. I got to literally escape reality and kind of check out, I guess, for however long I was playing the game. And that game is super immersive. It's open world. You want to fight things, you fight things. You don't have to. You could grind things out. Like there's so much to it that you can do, right? And to be able to get lost in that game, I think allowed me not to get lost in the idea of what's going on. Because obviously with like postpartum, hormones play a big part in that. I still have depression and anxiety, but I find it so much easier now to like deal with it that I do video games for fun instead of as an escape from reality. But video games I feel can really save people. People that are lonely or
I wouldn't say that you should think. I think you should know that they do because look at this pandemic. You tell me that gaming didn't help a large portion of people get through life. Come on. You couldn't even get a PC.
Well, not only that, but think about all the people that live alone that were able to get online and play video games. And to be honest, like it's so funny because people are talking about like social distancing and stuff, and a lot of my friends are online. I just don't find like-minded people around here, and so like me and my kids have been having fun this whole time playing video games like we were before COVID came. The only difference is they had to do school online. Um, but the funny part is that like when people talk about the social distancing and they can't wait to see their friends or what have you, and I'm like, oh, I guess I feel the same way I did before because this is just how I was living my life. So, but for a lot of people that are lonely, like they're finding their friends there.
Yeah. I think it's great.
So, my next question for you guys is if we added a mental health hotline to the Discord, would that be acceptable?
How would you? So, okay, it's a little interesting you say that. I don't know if I would call it a hotline. I'm not sure how you would set up a hotline.
They have a hotline number, is what I'm saying. Like, they have a number that they can contact if they're feeling unwell and alone. Of course, the Discord's there for them, to chat and whatnot, and that way, it kind of makes me like realize the schooling that I'm going for is, uh, I'm going to be focused more on mental health when it comes to school. Um, I basically am telling you guys that I will volunteer to be like a listener if someone needs help. Like I can be there as like helping me through like school, because eventually I'm going to have an internship with my schooling that I'm going for. So I'm here if anyone needs anything or needs to talk.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I have a plan
Okay.
that I don't really want to voice yet because I haven't ironed out all the details. But if you would like to be part of that, I could include you in those details.
Sure.
It's almost something along those lines, but it's a little bit different.
No worries. And if you want me to chime in whenever you need someone for like a third party view or something, I'm always there. I may not be able to get to the phone or see the text message right away, but when I'm on a break or I have a moment, I can look at something.
For sure. When I finish ironing out those details, it's something Gummy and I are working on. I would be more than happy to have you as part of the team.
No worries. I'm always trying to look for something new to keep myself busy with, so, you know. And I only do school and work now, so it's been kind of like, for me, in this retro sense, it's been hard to like relax because we just now finally are able to not wear masks at work. So everything's been kind of like, okay, we're getting back to normal in whatever sense that may be.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole of masks. AJ, uh, PS2 Fat Boy in the chat, is he? Do you think that person's still there? Do they like watch you all the time?
He lives in Australia, so they're about 12 or 13 hours ahead. So for them, it's like morning or afternoon.
It would be like 10 a.m., right? Something like that? No.
Yeah, because they
Never mind.
work, they go to work and whatnot.
I just wanted to tell that person that I agree with what they said. He said everything got blamed except the actual fact that these people suffered mental issues. And he said one of the main reasons that he hates watching the news. And it's true.
Yeah, it's always gonna be hard to like find what's true and what's not, and a lot of people are just focused on like, cause my grandmother's husband watches the news and it's Fox News, and it's just like that's why I don't pay attention to it. So, but my next
Yeah.
question, my next question is, if if it was something different, um, that could have happened with reaching out to someone on mental health, what would you say?
I'm sorry, I'm not exactly sure what the question is.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should rephrase. So if someone was having a bad day, how would you approach them? And and if you knew that they suffer from mental health issues, what would you say that could make them feel a little bit better, or how would you talk to them?
I would just talk to them like a normal friend would talk to a friend. You know what I mean? Just you don't have to force them to talk. Because, honestly, when I'm in a slouch, I don't really want to talk sometimes. And if someone doesn't respect that, it makes me worse. So you got to respect that sometimes they might not even want to talk, but just a little friendly reminder that you're there. Period.
Mm, that's true. Danny, what do you think?
I think I would do along the same lines if I guess it would depend if I know for sure that something is bothering them, or um I mean, I would try to be normal even if I knew there was something wrong. Um I guess how would I phrase it? If I know for sure that something is bothering them, I'll probably try to also like add in that, hey, I'm here, without making them feel pressured to talk to me, if that makes sense. Because sometimes some people say they're there for you to talk to, but they might not be, if that makes sense.
That's true.
So I just like to make sure that my friends know that I am 100% there, like at any time. Like one of those people that you could call at 2:30 in the morning if you needed a friend, and I would answer and be there.
I'm the same way. Although now I go to bed before 2 a.m., but
I would so I have lost two friends now to
okay. So my take on this whole COVID-19 situation was that when it first came out that we had COVID, everyone was like in a standstill. So I'm sorry if this is gonna go dark. Um, it is pretty explicit, and I know that it's going to take some time to get stuff to work and everything like that. So I'm sorry if I'm cutting out on you guys.
you're good. We're listening.
Okay. So for me, this COVID-19 stuff has been kind of like one of those eye-opening situations because in my state, everyone was on a lockdown.
What's your state again?
Tennessee.
Okay.
So it was going on for like a month, like more than a month at a time, and it was just you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do doctor's appointments, you couldn't go out. You basically were shut in. So and it was kind of hard at first because my mental health took a dip, and I wish that I reached out to you guys before then, and it would have probably made things better. I wouldn't be able to play games the same way as, like, for me, mental health has been one of those weird situations where I'm still trying to get used to working with people and being active, and I guess in a way, it scared me. And what was it like for you guys?
For me, it happened right when I was starting to because I stayed home with the kids, and I was trying to find a job, and I actually had like three interviews and a phone interview. So four total, but three that I had to actually go into lined up before COVID, and then one of them I didn't even get a phone call that it was canceled. I showed up and the place was closed, and the other places when and they said, well, we're not hiring right now, we're trying to see basically where everything was going with COVID, and so that is what happened. which was really hard because I was trying to find work. You know, I needed to.
You needed to find something to do because otherwise you wouldn't be able to pay the bills, you wouldn't be able to do a whole lot. Correct?
Yeah.
Bug Daddy, what was it like for you?
Um, that's when it really like started
You're cutting out majorly. Let me see if I can close it.
down, and oh, am I cutting out?
You are, yeah.
No, not on my side.
On my side it is, so I'm trying to see what I can do to make it easier.
Oh, you
Yeah,
just cut out.
like faded out.
I'll just wait till I hear him again.
Okay, how about now?
I hear you now.
Alright, can you repeat what you said because I'm pretty sure that when you cut out, it didn't register.
That's okay. When COVID hit, and they started shutting down the local restaurants, and they shut down the school. At first, I was eating up all the fear porn. I was worried about it, and I'm thinking, holy cow, you know. So I started talking to the ex of my children, the ex of my ex, mother of my children, God, and asking her like, hey, so what's the plan with the kids? What are we going to do about school? They're going to be home all the time. You know, they're kind of weren't ready to be home alone. They were worried and scared, and my kids are like kind of chicken shits. Um, and so I decided to get done work so I could be there for the kids, and help them with their schooling and just make sure that everything's okay. And, you know, I think that too many people forget about the kids. I mean, they're going to school now with masks on. Like, no, like, come on. They're doing sports with their masks on. They're doing, like, I don't know. Like, but anyway, I got done working and I was allowed to get done working and collect unemployment. So I did. And looking back, um, I don't regret it at all. I mean, there's been days where I get really down on myself, like, what did I do? What did I do? But you know what? I'm gonna look back and look at how much more time, how much more memories, and how much more of an influence I had on my kids' lives. That, you know, you don't always get the opportunity to do that. So that's how I look at it. I think that the pandemic changed me and changed what I, you know, how I view life. I view life a lot different now than I did before. I'll be
Mm.
honest.
So, with me, it kind of affected me in a way because I was home all the time. Well, I was always home regardless. Before the pandemic, I was going to school locally, and then my mental health took a crapshoot, and I guess I resigned from school for about a year. And now that I'm back in school, I look back and I think me taking the time to take care of myself was the right thing to do. And not many people do that. They just go straight into gaming or they go straight into whatever and they don't realize that they need to take time to do like a self care or like a check in and then they end up doing something stupid and then they get themselves in trouble with the law or they get themselves in trouble with their family and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it it goes with what any of us would think. Rephrase. It doesn't always seem like everything's different up until you realize that it is different. Because you just try to work with what you have, and sometimes it sucks because you don't know what you're gonna find, you don't know what's gonna happen, you just hope for the best.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
And Danny, I'm sorry if you were quiet, and I'm not trying to ignore anyone. I'm just basically.
No, you're doing a fine job. I'm just kind of listening.
Oh, okay. Because it's open mic, and if you have anything to say, I have no problem with it. I do have a question for you, Danny, because you were one of the founders of One Up. How did that go? How did that get started?
Um, so I was a moderator for a large community. And I guess there were, without going into too much of it, there were just some things I saw behind the scenes being a member of the staff that were going on that I did not agree with. So I decided me and two of my friends at the time, they were kind of suspicious some of the stuff was going on, and I knew for sure it was going on. So we decided, well, they kept encouraging me to start my own community because they said I was running things over there anyways, that I should just run my own, that I don't have to worry about that one saying no to me, basically. So I said, you know what? That's a great idea. So will you help me run this community? And both of them jumped on board, like very quickly. And the three of us set off to create One Up. First thing was to get a name, and the whole thing behind the name. I know some people are like, "Oh, One Up, Mario," but that's not really what it's about. It was One Up for in a competitive sense, to one up your competitors, to be better, but also to one up yourself. Something that I like to say is be better than yesterday. So no matter what it is you're doing, whether it's at work, in your home life, in video games, in your crafts, you like to craft, always be better. So always try to do better than you did yesterday. You know, you always hear people talk about consistency, and it's great to have the consistency as a minimum, but you should always try to do something harder. You should always push yourself, because I really believe that you should never settle. You should always be trying to improve yourself, because that's how you become the greatest, right? The best person. Like, if any of these huge athletes we look up to or movie stars ever stop trying to improve their game, what would happen? People would be able to predict exactly what they're going to do. So they had to get better. They had to learn new tricks. So next time you go to the game, oh my God, I've never seen them do that before. Why? Because they're striving to be better. They want to be better than themselves. They want to be better than their competition. So one up yourself, one up, and keep pushing to be better than you were. So we also wanted the community to be like an all-inclusive. We wanted to welcome everyone. There were a lot of cliques in some of the other communities we were in. And if you weren't on the inside circle, you knew it. Like, you felt it. And while I have like my own small circle of close friends that I'm really close with, I never want anybody to feel like they are not included in what me and my friends are doing. I mean, why not include somebody? That person could be your next best friend, or that person shoot, that person just might need a friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be a change in somebody's life for the positive, and I feel like that's something a lot of us should strive for, because there's so much negativity, so many people that go on through life like never truly knowing what any kind of love is. And I don't mean like love between you know, spouses, but like love between friends and siblings, you know, that type of thing. I really feel like that's what I want in One Up. I want it to be like a giant circle of friends. I want everyone to feel welcome, no one to ever feel judged. Um, that's kind of the driving factor behind that whole thing that I told you I couldn't really talk about yet.
Um, eh, you say that never judge until you're on the streets of Verdansk with Danny. You're
No.
not.
No. Oh my god, no way. This guy over here has sat through when Gummy and I have shared our screens and checked out our clips, and we're critiquing ourselves or each other, but he feels judged. But we don't judge his gameplay. We watch our clips to learn what we could do better, how we could have got out of fight better, or to laugh at some crazy epic thing that we shouldn't have been able to pull off. But like truly, that's why we have a lot of things in the Discord. And we have some of those channels that are hidden behind a role. So you actually have to select that role in order to unlock some of those channels, so that while it's there and it's open for everyone, it's still kind of, you know, inclusive. So I'm not sure if you've seen them. We have like the mental health one. You know, some people don't like reading this stuff, and some people don't, you know, they're like, there's 800 people in this Discord, we don't want everybody to see it, so it's there. And there's only a handful of people, it's still fairly new. And we've even started the LGBTQIA. I'm just mad I can't put a plus in that name. um that is generally run from Gummy. She's kind of heading up everything in there, keeping an eye on everything, making sure that everybody's polite and stuff about that. And she's trying to share any kind of news and things like that. But again, some people don't openly talk about it. Some people aren't as comfortable. So we're trying to give them, while it's in the Discord, trying to give them a more inclusive place to be themselves. Obviously, we encourage it throughout the Discord, but you know, it's kind of a place where you can have information and stuff and ask questions maybe that the whole Discord can't see if you're not comfortable.
That's fine. I'm actually part of the LGBTQ plus community, so I appreciate the fact that you have something for that, because a lot of people don't realize this, but suicide in the LGBTQ has gone up since '08. It's always going to go up, and but it especially hurts the LGBTQ because of when someone comes out, they could have this bad reaction to their family, and then they're all alone, and then they do something that they don't want to do in their whole life. So the fact that you have that section is like, you don't know what that means to me. You have probably opened up more than one person's life just by having that section in the Discord.
Well, that means a lot to me. I'm really here for anyone. I mean, even if like I'm the type of person that even if we were friends and we had this huge blowout and you just call me up one day and need somebody to talk to, I will listen and I will try to help you. If you want somebody to talk to, I will talk to you. But if you just want somebody to listen to you, I can be the ear. Um, because it's just who I am. I can't turn away anybody. I don't know. Like I had such a rough growing up from my own family that I never understood how people could be so cruel to someone that it made, while it was rough, it made me who I am, and it made me not want to be anything but nice to people. I try my hardest to, um, just to be kind, to make sure nobody ever feels judged, and to make sure that everybody feels included. Um, like, I never want anybody to feel bullied or alone or that they don't have a friend in the world or anything like that. So it's kind of, after Gummy and I talked about it, we opened that channel. We decided to do the mental health channel. Um, because we want a safe place for everybody. It's so hard not to tell you about this thing we're working on while we're talking about this. I'm not gonna lie.
It's okay. I understand. You can talk to me about it after.
Yeah.
That way it's not open air and everyone's like, "Oh my god. They're doing this?" Okay, now I'm jealous. So, no, it's okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Or someone said one day is you'll be fine. And I'm like, "Do you know what the word fine means?" I'm like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, fine means fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional." There are days when they're gonna be you hear the word "I'm fine," and then people are like, "Oh, okay, cool." Well, just remember that's what that means. And if someone says they're fine, talk to them. Because sometimes that one time of being able to talk to someone and you don't know what they're gonna do, and you just hope that they don't do anything stupid, or if you find out via through social media that they died, you feel like you didn't do enough, and it's sad. It's like it makes you feel like you're not doing enough for yourself. So that's my take on that. Any questions for me?
Um, Not off the top of my head.
Bug Daddy, do you have any questions for me?
I'm thinking, um, how do you, I don't know how to put it into words. What do you envision the future being like?
To me, I envision maybe, and hopefully things get better. I hope that no matter what happens, that we always have a place to be. We always have something that's going on. We always hope that events would prosper, I guess, is how I think about it. Um, I just hope that people can feel okay about themselves, and just having events really and truly being out in the open and just being active is what I'm hoping for, to be honest.
And what do you think about new lockdowns coming?
Come again?
What do you think about new lockdowns?
How do I feel about that?
Yeah, like I'm not saying that. I mean, they've only been announced in some areas. Australia is going through another lockdown, and I think the UK is. But what if it happens here again? What is your take on that? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm already going to school online, so I've dealt with that for a little while, and it's a little bit of a hectic time. But for me, if it happened again, I don't know what I would do, to be honest. I think I'd just be stuck in my room crafting and getting a blanket ready for someone and just try to be normal and try to talk to people, to be honest.
All right. No further questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna have a couple questions for you guys just because I don't like going. Everyone's like, oh, you should only have like an hour long podcast or hour long whatever. And I'm like,
Doesn't matter what they think though. It's yours.
that is true. That is true. So with everything going on, what do you think the future would hold for you guys?
Here's my problem. I don't want to go through mask mandates. I don't want them. I don't want them to mandate vaccines either to work or to go shopping. That worries me because a lot of people have had it with all that, and the fact that masks are actually proven to not actually help the spread of COVID. Um, it's just a fact. I mean, they don't seal tightly around your face. Everyone's just throwing these paper things on their face. It's not doing anything. I'm sorry, but anyway, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about more of our freedoms being taken for the simple facade of safety. It's not. I'm over it. So that's how I feel. I'm worried because I don't want to comply anymore with that bullshit. I'm ready to have gatherings again. I mean, come on.
What about you, Danny?
Um, I feel the same way. I do not want to. I don't want to be forced to take this vaccine. Doing air quotes again, but
like, I know it sounds silly to say that you don't want to be forced to take a vaccine, but they're literally planning on that, guys. You know what I mean? So what exactly is going on? Like, what country are we living in right now?
like
Just saying.
if they, I guess if they were actually vaccinating us, I would feel differently. But since it's not really working,
It's not.
I don't really want to.
There have been cases where people have gotten vaccinated and they still get COVID, so it really just depends on.
Oh, if you want to look up a little interesting fact on your own time, look up, because the word vaccine, like the word, is an actual legal term. Okay, so if you look up the legal meaning of vaccine, it'll give you all of the requirements that is legally needed to be met in order for it to be considered a actual legal vaccine. Okay, look up those facts of what it takes to be a vaccine. One of them is it has to prevent and stop the spread of said X disease. It is not doing that. Vaccines are also required to go through complete trials and testing and be FDA approved in order to be a legal vaccine. This thing is not FDA approved. It's still in the trials. And the reason why they could not get it FDA approved is because it killed the animals in the trials. So they had to halt the trials, get it emergency approved, and now they're forcing it on people. They're literally forcing it on the nurses, the doctors, medical staff. If you work in a hospital, they're literally threatening your job. And there's many people that have already been fired because they're refusing to take a unapproved experimental quote unquote vaccine.
Wow.
What is going on?
Wow.
What is going on? What it really is, what they really should be calling it on the news, is an mRNA gene therapy shot, because that's what it is. It is not a vaccine. So no, I will not take it. I absolutely refuse to take it.
Mm. I mean, I had to because of my medical history with cerebral palsy and scoliosis. So, cerebral palsy is like it's a lifelong medical issue. So I have to take it. Which I've never been exposed to the COVID-19, thankfully, but I know people that have been exposed to it, and I feel for them because they're like, this sucks. I feel like you are when you have like a bad day, and I'm like, I deal with that type of crap every day because my health and because I have a breathing problem to begin with. So for me, getting vaccinated was the only option at the time. And I respect your decision. I have no qualms, no issues. Each person is their own person, and I respect that. So, what about you,
I
Dan?